Hey everybody, it's Christine, and today I want to talk to you about making a date with something very important. And it's not actually a person, it's making a date with your feelings. And believe me, I know this sounds incredibly cheesy, so hang with me, let me explain. So in my last book, Expectation Hangover, when I talk about how to really treat and leverage disappointment, the first level we work on is the emotional level. Because for most of us, our feelings are what we avoid the most. We love feeling great, but those bad feelings like anger or hurt or shame or guilt, we avoid those feelings. And we generally develop coping mechanisms to suppress them, avoid them, or numb them. We overwork, we distract ourselves with drugs, alcohol, TV, we get overinvested in someone else. Like, we all have our techniques that we do it. And it's so important to not numb or suppress, because what that does is it keeps our feelings underwater like a big beach ball. And then they tend to leak out in other ways. We get irritable, we have health conditions, we're not as creative or productive, so on and so forth. So the importance of being able to really feel and release your feelings is huge. And there are times when it's not appropriate to feel your feelings. So, for example, you're at work, and all of a sudden you get triggered because you're thinking about your breakup and you want to burst out into tears. Or someone says something to you or does something that's really upsetting and maybe you're really angry or you want to cry. And it's not appropriate in that moment to feel your feelings. You know, as adults, we can't do that like we could when we were kids. So instead of suppressing it or avoiding it or being strong and just trying to cover it up, what I want you to do in the moment, and it can be very subtle, this is totally internal, is just acknowledge it. So internally say, sadness, I feel you, I acknowledge you, and I make a date to process you at 9 p.m. tonight when I'm home, or whatever it is. Or anger, I acknowledge you're there, I give you my word, I will deal with you later. Because your feelings have feelings, and the emotional part of you needs to trust you that you won't ignore them. So in both of those situations, you make the date, and then whatever you committed to, let's say it's 9 p.m., you're going to do some release writing, you're going to use a temper tantrum technique, and you're going to process those feelings. And that way you don't have to carry around a bunch of suppressed feelings. Because the more we let those feelings of anger, sadness, whatever we call bad, come up and out, the more we feel all those juicy, amazing feelings of joy and love and connection. Now, this also works if you catch yourself in a moment of judgment. Let me give you an example from a client. She was at an event and she found herself gossiping about someone else to a group of people. And right after the words came out of her mouth, she was like, oh yuck, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that. And she noticed her energy start to retreat, and she noticed herself start to clam down. And she remembered to make a date with her feelings. And she's like, okay, I'm making a date with this feeling of judgment. Later tonight, I'm going to process it. And so she was able to be present at the event. And then later that evening, she processed her judgment, worked through some self-forgiveness, and made the agreement no longer to gossip. So this is a wonderful way to A, not suppress, and to B, really deal with ourselves in a loving, compassionate, and productive way. You know, we have to be our own coach and counselor and parent a lot of the times. So next time you feel a big feeling or a big judgment, make a date with it, honor your word and commitment, and that will improve your relationship with yourself and consequently your relationship with others. Much love and many blessings. I'll see you next week.